Hey there, this is After. Welcome back to my Let's Play of the Testimony of Trixie Glimmer Smith. We had just left off before going to our new friend Heidi's shop. So let's see what chaos happens next. I have to admit I was slacking on my way to Heidi's shop. Drinking a pint of cola right before walking wasn't a great decision on my part. Sorry I'm late, I'm here now. Please don't tase me. Ah, Trixie, I was about to call you. Good, thank you for coming. I was worried you might be a deal breaker. And then I would have to tase you. I don't think that was a joke. Why do you have a taser anyway? Is that even legal? Probably. It's for self-defense, right? And good company on lonely nights. What? Okay, enough fucking around. We have a lot of work to do. She bundled me into her office. It was pretty small and completely cluttered with cardboard boxes. Okay, Trixie, you're going to help me with my side business, spring cleaning. We're going to go through these boxes and sort the junk into these two other, much bigger boxes. This is the stuff to be burned box. She kicked generic wooden crate soaked in petrol. I chose not to question her health and safety practices and just tried to avoid breathing too much. And this is stuff that might be worth money box. She tapped a sturdy metal safe. So, what kind of stuff are we sorting through? Like extra stock or what? Just like gold antiques and books. Nothing too important. Let's get on it with it, okay? I want to close on time. She dropped a cardboard box full of junk on the desk in front of me. I started rooting around in it and found it was full of trash. Mostly dusty books falling apart at the seams and broken old antiques. But the more I looked, the more it became clear some of this stuff might actually be valuable. I pulled a golden bracelet out of a box and blew dust off of it. Engraved on it was some kind of fish-like face and a single opal eye that seemed to stare at me. Jeez, how much money do you make selling this stuff? Heck, where do you even get this stuff in the first place? This looks expensive. Heidi shot me an annoyed look. Don't question it. So a lot, and illegally. Got it. I chuckled to myself and Heidi seemed unamused. I carefully put the bracelet into the safe. As I sorted through the box, it became pretty clear there was a theme to Heidi's stuff. It was all in some ways arcane. Old magic books, spooky scrolls, even what seemed to be occult apparel like the bracelet I found earlier. Heidi, do you believe in any of this stuff? Monsters and magic, I mean? She looked at me a moment, somewhat puzzled. Of course not. I've never seen any monsters or magic. But like, don't you ever get tempted to try out any of the spells in these books? Open up one of the thick dusty tomes and skim through it, looking for an example. Before I could read anything, Heidi slammed shut on my fingers. Hey, ow! Okay, new rule. You don't look at anything for longer than it takes to work out if it's valuable or not. Got it? I nodded. No, I don't believe in this stuff, but... Look, I like to keep it that way, okay? I've met people who like this crap and it messes with their heads. This stuff is the best thing left to ignore, okay? Ignorance is bliss. She got back to work. I envied her lack of belief. I hoped with enough time my brain could fully convince me that what I saw the night before was just heat, dehydration, and spore-fueled hallucination. But I think even then I knew the truth. Heidi seemed to know that we were only inches from madness and intended never to test that distance. We sorted through the boxes for a while. Most of the stuff was pretty uninteresting, but a few things caught my eye. A copper amulet, a shard of amber with a strange ancient bug frozen inside, some long-distant ancestor to a modern bee, perhaps? A manuscript detailing a ritual to summon rain. And at one point, a Dungeons and Fungeons rulebook with Heidi's name on it, which was quickly grabbed off me and stuffed into Heidi's desk drawer. I was getting pretty bored. Some of the stuff looked really interesting, but I knew Heidi would snap at me if I look into any of it. Fortunately, there was a sound outside. Someone had walked into the shop. Heidi slinked over to the people in her office door suspiciously. Ah, it's a customer. Trixie, you take care of this stuff. I'll go deal with the schmuck. She walked to the shop, snapping at the customer for looking at something too strangely before the door closed behind her. I picked up one of the last items in the box, a small book titled Spiral Speeches of the Star Gods. Well, it seemed to be missing, but there were a few pages left, and it kind of sounded interesting. Tempt madness, or throw it away. Let's throw it away for now. I don't want to risk Heidi's ire again, and toss the book into the trash box. It wasn't long before Heidi was back. Heh, sorry about that. Customers are a pain. Huh, you finished. Nice one. She looked genuinely pleased with me. You know, you didn't do a bad job. She seemed to think for a moment. Trixie, how would you like to help me out again? For money, I mean. Here, a crowbar is paid. Oh, wow. I've never had a job before. Maybe? Wanted to help Heidi. Dave just assessed my curiosity about her strange inventory. But I also wanted to hang out with Greg or Belle. I wasn't sure if there would be time for that, too. Okay, so branching paths. We're gonna save right here. And go back. And we can branch out from this point in the future. But so who do we want to go with? Darn. I think this is a hard decision. I think we're going to come back and do all of it, but the question is who do I want to do first? I think we'll stay with Heidi for now. I really like Greg. I do really like Greg. Let's go help Heidi. Let's help Heidi. Yeah, I guess that might be fun. I could use the money to buy more bat stuff. Bat stuff? Alright, sure. Tell you what, come along tomorrow like 3 o'clock and you can help me out. Plenty more work to do. Tap to one of the assorted boxes. Cool. Okay, Heidi. Thank you. Right, I better start closing up. Thanks for your help. I'll see you, Trixie. I wished her good evening and started to walk home to my bed. I could definitely use some sleep. I was walking past Wilbur Hall on my way back to bed when I noticed Nikita fumbling around the vending machine. She was trying to pull a bar of toffee melon out of its slot, and it seemed to be stuck. She gave the machine a frustrated kick, and the snack fell out. As she picked it up, she noticed me watching her. Oh, hello, Trixie. I'm just on my way back to my room. I have to finish reading the... she almost scared to say it. The King... Yellow! Yes! The King in Yellow! Kitty seemed skittish. Her usually tidy clothing was scruffy, her fur unbrushed, and her eyes flitted around the hall frantically. Her constant fidgeting made her look eager to finish talking to me and get back to her room. It was like she'd just been for a spin in a tumble dryer full of caffeine. Are you okay, Nikita? You're kind of a mess. Have you been reading all day or something? Ah, yes, I have. All day, yes. Last night, too. Preliminary research. It's been a illuminating read thus far. I need to read a little more, but... Trixie. She grabbed me by the shoulders, pulling me close. I looked down at her scared eyes. I knew all too much about the reputation of the King in Yellow. I didn't want to believe it could have done this to Nikita, but... this wasn't right. Trixie, I need to make some more notes and, I need to double check. Read between the lines, but... No, never mind. We can discuss this later, but I'm certain. She let go of me. I better get back to my room. Yes. Yes! Good night, Trixie. She did sort of shaky, fast walk away from me, towards the accommodation block. Bye, Nikita. I was scared. Could this really be the work of that play? I shook my head. This had to be sleep deprivation. She'd barely slept in weeks with her campaign planning and coursework. And yet I could remember how the book had drawn me to it when I held it. I wanted to pull a golden ribbon and read it. Regardless of its contents, the rumors were in that cursed play more than enough to make it maddening to behold. I didn't like Nikita, but I was getting genuinely worried for her health. I figured I'd let her finish reading and get some sleep. I could always make sure she was okay in the morning. I eventually got back to my room and collapsed into my bed. It had been a busy day. I was playing a muck about on my laptop until I got tired enough to sleep, but it was on my desk and I couldn't be bothered to get back out of bed. I remembered the book about ghosts I got hold of a few weeks ago. It was probably still on the floor next to my bed. I remember it being pretty tacky. Peering over the edge, I could see it was. After my sighting in the basement, I thought it might be relevant. If I was going to stay awake a little longer, I might as well use time productively. Before I could reach the book, my phone buzzed. Tabby had sent me a message. That was unexpected. I don't speak to Tabby often, which is sad, because I kind of wish we were friends, but I don't really think she notices me. I used to think she was kind of weird, but after last week, I have to admit I'm taking her more seriously. I wasn't sure if I could handle a conversation with her right then, but I did think it'd be kind of nice to talk to someone. I'm going to talk to Tabby. Hey, Trixie. One of my psychic crystals, the green spiral alignment, went missing. I was wondering if you'd seen it anywhere. Hey, sorry, Tabby. I haven't seen it. Where did it go missing? Oh, no worries. Somewhere today, I think. Oh no, I'll keep an eye out for it. Hey, Tabby, do you know the King in Yellow? Sorry not to bug you. I was just wondering if you're not busy. Oh yes, the infamous haunted play. I know it. I can't say I've read it, though. Why? You researching it or something? I heard this is generally a bad idea. Oh, not discouraging you, but I bet it would be a great study for next year. No. I'm not going to read it. I'm pretty sure it doesn't even exist anymore. I was just wondering if you knew much about it. You're a good student. Well... Oh, sorry, I had to sneeze. Well, if I have... Well, I have to be if I want to be a student union president next year, right? I read a few books on this in the Union Library. Maybe you could get them out. The notes of Great Inquisitor of Valenheim were really good for obvious reasons. Anyway, I gotta get some sleep. I'm going to Wolffest South tomorrow in town. Gonna be a super hot in my costume. Lol. Not in that way, you cheeky rat. Maybe you should come to WoolCon with sometime. Yeah, don't know if you're into that. Maybe. I'll let you get some sleep, Tabby. I'll look out for your crystal. Tabby is nice, but I really don't know if she likes me or not. I wasn't super keen on going to WoolCon. Dressing as a sheep and whiffing, or whatever they do to those cons, didn't sound super appealing. Regardless, it was time to sleep. Oh my god. I had a surprisingly pleasant, if somewhat strange dream. I was a clerk marrying Nikita to a giant toffee millet bar. And then I married the entire cast of Cyberdrek Kuyas from Mars. Parsnip was there, jumping up and down, throwing confetti. Let's not get into it. Regardless, it was a welcome break for the horrid dream I'd had the night before, and I woke up feeling a lot better. It was pretty early in the morning, but I sent Nikita a message anyway. I didn't get a response and assumed she must have finally gone to sleep. I could check again tonight if she was still MIA. I could let security or campus doctor know she was acting funny. That said, I knew she wouldn't do the same for me. I lazed around in bed for a while until I felt too gross to not shower any longer. Once I was eventually somewhat functional, I decided to work out what to do. I remember I promised to help Heidi again. I was hoping I wouldn't regret signing up for the boring junk sorting, but I couldn't help but be intrigued by her side business, whatever it was. And some of the stuff she had might be cool to look at, even if it was just a tat. With last night's encounter with Nikita all but forgotten, I made myself somewhat presentable and headed into town. Heidi seems somewhat surprised to see me. Good you show up, Trixie. Ready for a hard day of hard work? She grinned and bundled me into her office. I wasn't really ready for a day of hard work. I never am. I was tired after about half an hour. Lifting stuff is a lot of effort. I persevered though, and after a few hours we were pretty much done. I noticed Heidi's shop didn't get much traffic, though with the amount of money in our secret stock was worth, I wasn't sure that was an issue. I was about to comment on the lack of customers when we heard the shop's front door open. A customer had arrived. Heidi stepped over to the office door and peered through the spy hole. Of course. She opened the door and beckoned me into the shop. A familiar face was waiting for us. Hey, Greg. We were just in the back, not fucking each other or anything. She forced a laugh at us as she closed the door behind us. Greg giggled. I was a little offended. I don't really think I'm the fucking kind of person. Unless it involved monsters or Cyber Bat Razor, maybe. Hi, friends! You here for those boxes? You bet. Is that still okay? I don't want to cause any trouble if you need them. Nah, take as many as you need. What do you need them for anyway? Make a delivery or something? Oh, it's for boxing things. I'm going to put things in the box. Their eyes flitted back and forth. I'm boxing the wedding cake I made for those two mice. The cake's going in the box. Yep. Makes sense. Certainly did. Anyway, I better get back and box that cake. See you later, pals. Later, dude. Have a nice time boxing the cake. Greg hurried out of the shop with the cardboard box held over their head. They looked pretty ridiculous. Okay, Trixie, we got a few things left to go through before we're done. Let's not waste any time. It took longer than I would like, but we eventually finished sorting for the day. I almost collapsed, exhausted. I was amazed at quite how much junk Heidi collected. I still really wanted to find out where this stuff came from. For educational reasons, obviously. That's enough for today. Great work. She pulled a wad of money from her pocket. 75 pounds. How's that sound? I could buy a lot of tat with that. Cool. I never been paid for a job before. Besides the time I got given 50 pounds to throw a rock through someone's window. But that was less of a job and more of a paid act of vandalism, like being a soldier. Oh hey, you like whiskey, Trixie? Well, I mean, I haven't tried it. I don't drink often. I'm pretty bad with alcohol. Besides, I'd better head back to my room and get some sleep, you know? Well, feel free to have a bottle anyway. I have tons of the stuff. Maybe there's a work benefit. Oh, sure then. It might be tasty. Haha, knock yourself out. I mean, don't. Take it slow. Alcohol. Know your limits. She opened her own bottle and downed half of it. I thanked her and headed home. I had drunk the entire bottle within 10 minutes of leaving. When my phone rang. Oh my god, she is... Oh my god. Trixie! Something came up. Can you come help me again? Fortunately, I avoided the whiskey evil's effects so far and was able to answer. Hi! Why are you shouting? Mostly. Sorry, I can be there in a few minutes. Great! See you then. Managed to find my way back to Heidi's. It only took about twice as long as it should have. Heidi! I kind of fell through the door. I tried to turn it into a cool kind of dance move, but I don't think it worked. Wait, Trixie, are you drunk? Oh, seriously? Hi, yep. I tried to do a cool grin, but pretty sure I just look sleazy. Great, well, you better sober up, because it's too late to rearrange this mess now. I need to go make a delivery for me, while I meet my supplier. I hope it's not drugs. That would be very illegal. I yielded myself for a bit. Apparently I find the concept of drug prohibition hilarious. Heidi just shook her head in despair. I realized I need to get my act together and managed to brute force sobriety for a while. Sorry, Heidi, I'm okay now. I can totally hand over some drugs for you. Easy! Heidi didn't look wholly impressed with my joke. Apparently only I find myself funny when I'm drunk. It's not drugs. It's some of the crap we've been sorting. That stuff has... Well, it has a very specific clientele, and I sell it in alleyways. Don't look worried about it. Don't worry about it too much, okay? We don't have time to mess about. Now, there's something else you'll need. Okay, so explain again why I'm dressed as a pixie or whatever. A pixie? Have you ever seen a pixie before? They don't look anything like that. I meant goblin. Oops. I giggled to myself for a moment before calming down again. Behave. Now, Trixie, you're no longer Trixie. In this costume, you are Delilah... Psst! Delilah Moonbeam, Keeper of the Cosmic Secrets? Is this your friggin' Dungeons and Fungeons character, Heidi? I started connecting myself. Heidi seemed less cool and edgy now. Heidi's face was red with embarrassment, and she quickly regained composure and swatted me lightly around the head. Hey, shut the fuck up! Delilah Moonbeam is my illegal antique book-selling alter ego. That way, the weirdos who buy crap can't recognize me and come stalk me. So don't fuck up and let everyone know who you are, and don't fucking tell anybody or else I'll fucking end you, okay? Sounded pretty serious, so I shut up. Okay, so you're going to use a different voice. I usually do a deep, scary one. I was going to do that. Talking in a deep voice made me feel like shit. As unhealthy as it might be, I'll always choose to kill my vocal cords and talk how I want to over my normal voice, or worse, an over-the-top deep one. Wait, what? I'll always choose to kill my vocal cords and talk how I want over my normal voice, or worse, an over-the-top deep one. Okay, I get it now. I figured I'd just kind of talk slowly and weird like a cartoon ghost. You're heading to an alleyway next to... Trixie, shut the fuck up! You kids need to learn your alcohol tolerance. I'm gonna go and slow down. I'm gonna increase the auto forward time and slow down the text speed. Because I want to see what some of this stuff says. You kids need to learn your alcohol tolerance. I giggled under my breath a little more, but managed to shut up. Okay, as I was saying, we're headed out to the alleyway next to Pound Town, that cheap tat shop like 10 minutes from here. Someone will meet you there, you take the payment, then you give them the books, and then you leave. Got it. Yeah, I got you. Spooky voice, don't show my face, my name is Delilah Moonbeam. Alleyway, going to Pound Town, give the books, give the payment. Easy. Heidi did look super convinced, but before she could comment, she glanced at the clock. Fuck, you're gonna have to be late if you don't. You're gonna be late if you don't get going. Just don't muck this up for me, Trixie. Please. I'll pay you well for it when you're back, I promise. Heidi handed me 2 wrapped up books and bundled me out of the door with some vague directions to Pound Town. God damn. It wasn't too far from the shop. Even in my inebriated state, I got there pretty quickly. I waited around the dark alleyway, hoping I wasn't late. Just as I was thinking about leaving, I caught sight of movement in the darkness. An odd figure shuffled towards me. They forced themselves toward me on clumsy, rigid legs. They wore a heavy hooded cloak which shrouded their face in darkness from yellow-eyed gleams toward me. Delilah? Their voice was strange. It rasps every sound and cuts out suddenly at the end of each phoneme. Ooh, I am Delilah Moonbeam. Ooh. The figure's hooded head jerked up and down. I think it was supposed to be a nod. Ah. The figure twitched, almost seemingly collapsed briefly before jutting back up. Before I could ask if they were alright, they spoke again. The payment as discussed. The figure shakily and juddily extended a hoofed hand toward me. Their arm was covered in matted, dirty wool, parts of which were shedding and revealed what seemed to be deep peck marks. Despite their arm ending in a hoof, this creature was clearly no cow. It appeared almost sheep-like, though I knew that was impossible. It dropped what seemed to be several pearls. I think it means pearls. The pearls and beautiful sapphire inlaid circlet into my hand. Their valuable items sparkled in the starlight. I almost thought about stealing them to pay off my student debt, but I probably need a few diamonds on top of it to even make a dent in that. Besides, Heidi had a taser, one which she had neglected to give me for this meeting. Great. I put the treasures in my bag and took out the first package. I gingerly held the package forward, and the matted figure clumsily took it from my hands. Thank you, friend. And that next. This matted figure was off-putting. I wanted to get out of here as fast as possible and never see them again. No problem. I sputtered out. I was about to pass them the second package when I felt sick. Drinking that much whiskey had been a mistake. The last thing I needed was to throw up inside that mask. There wasn't anywhere for it to go. I took off the mask and was pleased to find I just needed to burp. I almost yelled, realizing what I'd done. My eye locked with 2 yellow pinpricks under the stranger's hood. I could swear I saw a flash of recognition. I quickly put the mask back on, almost dropping it in my panic. I claimed my face was actually a second mask. I wanted to get up and run, but I managed to keep my cool. Apparently forgetting to put a voice in the meantime. Okay, right, so you probably think you got me there, but haha, there's actually nope. For you see, I'm wearing 2 masks, several actually. This, attempted mask smuggling, was but a first. My face was but a second. I mean, my mask, but it was a second. It wasn't my face, was it? I thought I might have worked and swayed on the spot for a bit. My heart dropped. Under the hood, I saw the glint of a malicious smile, and I knew the strange matted figure had not believed me. I was about to hand over the package and run, but I freaked out, and the next thing I knew, I was running those alleyway. The figure following me with loud stomps and strange, hard, hoof-like feet. My heart raced. That unnatural creature in the alleyway filled me with dread. Something about their appearance, mannerisms, and even the air around them chilled me to the bone. I threw open the door to Heidi's shop and ran into the office, relieved to see Heidi was already back. You're back already. Good. Good work. I owe you one. Get that costume off and we can both go get some sleep. I took the costume off and packed it away like Heidi had asked. I took my time, but couldn't put it up any longer. Heidi, there was a little fuck up and they kinda saw my face. Kinda? What? You showed your face to them? Are you kidding? I gave you a fucking mask, specifically so this would not happen. Do you know how much danger you've put us in? You know the people who buy this crap are real psychos, right? Like, completely unhinged? I knew she would be bad, but hearing her sound genuinely afraid surprised me. Okay, so I explained the entire meeting. Heidi listened and seemed to calm down as I spoke, much to my relief. I'm sorry for shouting at you, Trixie. I didn't mean to scare you. I have a bit of a temper, and this is serious stuff. Come on, I'll be fine. Let's get you home safe, then we can talk tomorrow when you're feeling better. My motorbike's still out front. You can sit sidecar. Don't throw up on it, though, because then I would be pissed. For once, I appreciate the laugh, but I wasn't sure I could promise that. Before we could leave, the front door swung open, and the cool night breeze flooded the shop. Good evening, friends. Heidi seemed to see the worry on my face. Trixie, is this? I nodded, still stuck on the spot. I couldn't believe I let this happen. Heidi pushed me back and growled through bared teeth as she grabbed her rounder spat. What do you want? The figure jerkily raised their arms and pointed at me. That rat. That book. Leave Trixie the fuck alone and leave now. That book. Figure lurched forward. Wrong move. Heidi leapt forward and swung the bat as hard as she could. She clearly had a lot of practice. There was a terrible crack as the figure's arm broke. I cringed at the sound, but was shocked to see them continue their advance. Either they didn't notice their arm was fractured, or they didn't care. Heidi threw her bat to the ground and pulled out her taser. She charged the figure and began wrestling with them, but seemed to be unable to budge them, as if they were called from solid stone. The book, return. Get out! Heidi jammed her taser into the cloaked figure's wooden arm, forcing the contact between them. The figure pulled away with a start. Heidi fell to the floor in their absence. The wool Heidi'd been tasering had ignited. A small fire spread the creature's arm. The matted figure flew out of the door with force, as if yanked off stage by a cane. The shop fell silent. It was a while before Heidi spoke up. Trixie, let's get you home. We can talk about it tomorrow, okay? I nodded. According to Poppygon.com, Cyber Dracoulias from Mars was getting a reboot, so that was cool. Cyberbat Razor had a new design, somehow even hotter than the old one. Irrelevant. Sorry again. That was some pretty exciting news, but pretty soon that night took on a turn for the worse. I'd been worrying about the matted figure all night, but I was pretty sure they hadn't followed me and Heidi to uni. Her bike was pretty fast. Besides, I was in a busy accommodation block, and they would have to be pretty brave to follow me here. I calmed down for a lot after eating some snacks. Things were going to be okay, I foolishly thought. Eventually, I managed to get some sleep, only to be immediately woken up by knocking at my door. If it was Nikita, she'd be shouting abuse at me by now, so who was it? The matted figure? Trixie, this is important! We need to talk! It's about the King in Yellow! My blood froze. I'd completely forgotten to check up on Nikita, and by the sound of it, she deteriorated somewhat. I shouted a mess of words at her, my half-asleep mouth barely functioning. The knocking stopped. I managed to get my clothes on and open the door. Trixie, sit with me. She took a seat on my bed. The King in Yellow clutched her hands. I was taken aback. Nikita always looked faintly repulsed by my hygiene. She would never normally consider her touching any of my stuff. Nikita, are you okay? Trixie, shut up. I'm fine. Now sit down and listen to me. I already told you this is important. She didn't look fine. She looked even worse than last time I saw her. I nervously sat down. My eyes were drawn to the close play. It was only a book, but it seemed to suck the air out of the room. I felt cold, confused, scared. Trixie, I've finished reading it. It says so much. I can't. You need to read it for yourself to understand. It's just so... I can't explain. My head is in the maelstrom. But, Trixie, my point is... I'm in this play. Or I mean, I can tell it's supposed to be me. Trixie, I'm the heir to the Broken Throne. I am the heir to Carcosa. I was dumbstruck. What was Nikita on about? She was a character in some old play? The heir to a fictional city? It was madness. Nikita, I think you need to sleep. You're not making any sense. How about you wait here and I go get someone to help? Trixie, you are not going to go get me sectioned. Don't you dare accuse me of being sick, or mad, or... We both know I'm smarter than you, so shut up and listen to me. Her eyes bored me with genuine malice. She was scaring me. I apologize to Trixie. She's being scary. Okay. I'm sorry, Nikita. I'll listen. She stood up and paced for a moment, the book still in her hands. Eventually, she stood over me, trying to look tall. I leant back a little, hoping if she got what she wanted, she would calm down a little. I am the heir to Carcosa, Trixie. At first, I didn't believe it, but all the signs are there. I've got this. I've had it since I was born. She pointed at the white freckles on her face. You recognize them, right? The Hades, the constellation, the eternal prison of Carcosa. I gazed at Nikita's face. It was hard to be sure, but her markings were definitely familiar. I'd seen them before, in my vision of Carcosa, the night in my dreams. I see it. I mean, it's hard to tell. I don't know much about stars. That seemed to placate Nikita somewhat, but she still seemed pretty unhappy with my lack of certainty. Look, Trixie, I read the play. It's not just the markings, there's so much. I noticed she didn't give any examples. Nikita dragged my desk over to the bed. It screeched across the floor, but I didn't want to stop her. She sat down next to me again and placed the King in Yellow on the desk. Read, please. You'll understand. I looked down at the play. Ever since I first laid eyes on the book, it had been in the back of my mind. I wanted to read it. I carefully reached out and ran my hand across the cover. It was cold. Open it, Trixie. We don't have forever. It's not giving me a choice. I opened The King in Yellow. A lot of time passed. Initially, I was disinterested. Nikita had obviously been skipping on sleep. A play written over a century ago did not reference her. It could not. Strangely, I remembered nothing of the play's contents. It seemed to pass through my mind like wind. But while I remember little, my mind still sees the black stars hanging in the sky, the rolling clouds breaking against the dread galleys of the Imperial Navy, the terrible remains of the broken throne. When Nikita saw me finish Act 1, she spoke for the first time, since we had opened the play. Do you see it yet? Do you see me? No, Nikita, there's never been any mention of an heir, or you, or anything. Just, oh geez, I don't even know how to describe it. What is this? What are you saying? You can't see me? Can't you read? Give it back, you nincompoop. She wrestled me for the book. My desk toppled over in the struggle. I needed the play. It was mine now. Give it to me, Nikita. I realized I let go a shout at her. I quickly grabbed it again, but it was too late. Nikita shoved me and I tumbled to the floor. As I fell through the air, I caught a glimpse of the first line of the second act. In that moment, I only saw a blur of ink scrawled on a yellow page. I'm not even sure I truly read it, but it left on my imprint on my mind nevertheless. More than anything else that happened in the next few days, no matter how bad it got, nothing compared to this. If I could destroy all memories of this year, my new friends, my education, even my transition, I would. For the opening of that second act of The King in Yellow was terrible, unlike anything imaginable. I hit the ground with a thud. My head spun, my vision blurred. The feeling of dread, the likes of which I have never known, hit me like a gunshot. My head felt light as I raised my hands to indicate my surrender. They shook, as if I was about to faint. What I read in that book stays with me even to this day. I have no intention to repeat it here, lest rereading it bring me new, more terrible insights. That line changed everything. Nikita was right. The broken throne belonged to her. You believe me now, don't you, Trixie? Never doubt me again. I saw Nikita grab a sharp knife off my desk. It wasn't super sharp, but I had no intention of finding out whether it would cut skin and shoved across the room across the floor away from Nikita. Now get out! Get out of here! I never should have let you read this. You don't deserve it. But this is my room! A small semblance of normality returned to Nikita's face. She seemed to have snapped out of her fury. I needed to use this chance to calm her down. We can try and leverage the student union election here. Nikita, wait. What about your election stuff? Running around with weapons, tag people, and talk crazy isn't going to help you put your 5-point plan into act. You think I care about student politics? You saw my calling inked in that page, Trixie. Whether you want to admit it or not, you have always known where I was headed. To Carcosa, to the broken throne. My head hurt at the mention of the Forsaken City. Surely Nikita couldn't truly intend to sit upon his throne. Look, Trixie, you had your chance to join me as my underling. But it's clear the decay of this world, its silly parties, and fun have ruined you. You could have shined as bright as the twin suns. Disappointing. She took off, running from my room with play and her weapon. I was left alone on the floor, a trembling mess. I scrambled for the door and managed to lock it, my heart thudding in my chest as my mind tossed and turned like a dread fleet at anchor. I should have been more worried about Nikita. She was clearly a danger to herself and others. But all I could think about was the King in Yellow. I only remembered parts of that night that followed. My mind raced almost non-stop. Every now and then I'd fall asleep only to wake somewhere else in my room. At some point, my phone buzzed, and Nikita was messaging me. Why don't you believe me, Trixie? You had your chance to serve me at the foot of the broken throne and rule the city of decay. Why did you have to ruin it? The king's tattered hand will guide me, and me alone through the path you made for me. The twin skulls will guide me to the twin suns, the night that never ends, under the pale moon, under the black stars, under the bleeding sky. This is what I was meant to be always. I was meant to be the ruler I was meant to be. Do not be scared, Trixie. You know this is right. You know this is the way things are supposed to be. You know I am kind. I will not allow the king to harm you when the gate opens. I promise. He continued in that manner for a long time, maybe hundreds of messages from Nikita, all completely incomprehensible. She seemed set on sitting upon the broken throne underneath a rotting spire of Carcosa. My phone started buzzing almost non-stop. Similar messages poured through hundreds of unknown numbers. I tried to block them, but more and more flooded through. Were these all coming from Nikita? Did she have friends? Was this something far worse? Nikita had a weapon. She was unstable. I thought about how she had spoken earlier that night. It had scared me. I needed to help out, but who would believe me? I didn't want to be a burden Heidi with it. She had enough on her plate, already thanks to me. There was the police. I didn't like them, but maybe they were only hope. The police are useless. I sighed. The police had already ignored me when I reported possible murder evidence once. Why would they care if someone stole a play script I didn't even really own, and my knife, which struggled to cut through cardboard? I gave up. This was my problem to deal with alone. The most distinct, terrifying moment I recall was maybe 4 a.m. I was laying awake when I noticed a figure stood in my door, tall, robed, and stood perfectly still. I held my breath and shut my eyes. I don't know how long they were shut, but eventually I opened them again. My breathing was ragged as I focused. There was no one there. The King in Yellow had left. I shivered. I was being watched. Nikita had a guardian. Eventually I managed a small amount of restful sleep, an hour or two at most. When I awoke, I could remember what happened with Nikita all too well. I could remember reading The King in Yellow. But after that, nothing. Parts of it seemed to be a dream, or my imagination, or something worse. There was no wall between reality and madness. I couldn't trust anything. But I knew Nikita was dangerous. I knew she was headed to the broken throne. Quite what that meant, I didn't know, but I had to stop her. If Nikita unlocked the white gate of Holly and walked through, what could walk back out? Despite my fatigue, I somehow remembered I needed to change my estrogen patch today. Desperate to return some degree of normalcy, I decided to get on top of that. I've been skipping on my anti-androgen tablets too. No wonder I was a mess. My hormones were all over the place. I downed one, hoping to keep my testosterone in check. With dark thoughts still swirling in my head, I managed to stagger over to my bathroom mirror. As usual, the edges of my patch were coated in gray gunk. Gross. I peeled the sticky patch off. And as usual, I looked like shit. I needed a hot shower. Maybe it would wash away the storm of thoughts in my mind along the gross eye gunk clinging to my face. I spent most of it curled up under the water, hot water masking my tears. It woke me up, but I didn't feel any better. After the shower, I slapped a new patch on my ear. You're meant to put them below the waist, but I don't want to shave an area for it, so I'm assuming it'll be fine. I haven't died yet. I got in text for the campus security. Apparently the person next door, I think Misty Dartmouth or someone on the museum studies course, had put in a complaint about me. Apparently I've been talking to myself all night and scratching the walls. Shame. I liked her, if just because she had a nice name. I looked at the wall. It's true. I'd left some tiny claw marks in them. There's my deposit gone. Maybe I could buy some paint off Heidi and hide them. But right now, I had more pressing problems. By the time I was ready to face the world, I was already pretty late. That sounds like a good stopping point for this one. We're going to save. Not over top of that one. And I will see everyone next time on the testimony of Trixie Glimmer Smith.